Welcome to Hands-on M365. This is where we dive into what's really happening across the Microsoft ecosystem, giving you the insights you need.
And today, we're zeroing in on SharePoint, specifically what landed in October 2025.
Right. Now we're digging into the updates based on the Microsoft 365 roadmap and Message Center info. There's a great summary of this on Jaume Ferreira's blog, Hands-on SharePoint, which really helped frame things for us.
Yeah, and, looking at the list, you might initially think, oh, kind of a quiet month. But actually, when you look strategically, some really significant shifts happened.
Totally agree. It felt like a month where the underlying structures, especially for AI governance, really started to click into place.
Exactly. And at the same time, Copilot is becoming, well, much more visible, more integrated into how people actually work day to day.
So two big themes jumped out from the Microsoft details, right? Control and pervasiveness.
Precisely. You've got the new admin view for managing SharePoint agents. That's the control piece. Big deal for security and governance.
And then there's the updated document library experience that's more on the user side, making things hopefully smoother.
Yeah, trying to mesh that user experience with all the new AI stuff coming in.
Okay, so for this hands-on M365, our plan is to unpack what these October changes really mean. We'll look at what administrators can do now, how Copilot is showing up for users, and some of those core SharePoint efficiency updates.
Sounds good. Let's start with the admin side of things, because really a lot of the strategic weight this month is on control and governance.
Right. Microsoft seems to be giving admins more levers, especially around AI interacting with company data.
That's the core takeaway. It's about empowering admins to manage these new AI capabilities that are touching potentially sensitive information.
So the headline item here is the new admin view for SharePoint agents. Tell us about that. What does it actually let admins control?
Okay, so this gives them visibility they just didn't have before. Microsoft 365 admins get a dedicated spot in the admin center. It's in the new agent section of the Copilot control system.
A dedicated view. So they can see all the SharePoint agents.
Yep, all of them. And it's not just viewing. They can actually take action.
Like what? What actions?
They can view the agent, obviously, but they can also block specific agents or unblock them if needed. This applies specifically to agents being used in Copilot chat.
Ah, okay. Copilot chat specifically. That makes sense, given how chat can pull information from lots of places quickly.
Exactly. And this started rolling out late September, and it's on by default. So admins should be seeing this now.
Good to know. And I saw something about more security insights coming around October 31st, tied into this.
Correct. This adds another layer. Microsoft is bringing in richer insights about which agents are actually accessing content in SharePoint and OneDrive. Think of it like an audit trail for AI.
Okay, so you can see what the agents are doing with the content.
Right, which is crucial, especially for compliance and in regulated fields. This falls under the SharePoint Advanced Management Controls.
Got it. Now, governance isn't just about who accesses what, it's also about, well, money. How is Microsoft handling the cost side of these agents?
Good question. That's where capacity pack support comes in. This landed in late October for SharePoint agents and also for Copilot tuning. It's basically a way to manage costs up front.
Capacity pack. So like prepaying for usage, how does that work technically?
Pretty much. It lets you buy bundles of messages beforehand. Your usage comes out of those prepaid packs first. Only after you've used up the pack do you get the pay-as-you-go rates.
Ah, okay. So it gives organizations more predictable spending.
Exactly. And admins have control. They can assign these packs, keep an eye on usage through the Partner Portal Admin Center PPAC, and even restrict which environments can use them using Enter ID. So cost control tied to identity and security.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting gears slightly, but still on the admin front. A big one for potentially large orgs dropped mid-October. SharePoint Online Tenant Rename finally hit general availability.
Yes. And the really big news here is that it launched with no scale limitations.
No scale limits. Wow, that's been a blocker for ages.
It's been a blocker for huge enterprise tenants, companies that went through mergers or rebrands and were stuck with an old tenant name because they had too many sites. This finally unlocks that.
That is a strategic game changer for M&A and restructuring. Are there any catches, any requirements?
Well, yes. While the site count limit is gone, if your tenant has over 10,000 sites, you'll need SharePoint Advanced Management SAM licenses to do the rename.
Okay, SAM licenses for the big tenants. And what about limitations? Still some things it doesn't support.
Right. Currently, it still doesn't work with vanity domains or multi-geo setups. But honestly, removing that scale limit was the main hurdle. That's a massive step forward.
Definitely. Okay, so admins are getting more control, more tools on the back end. Let's flip to the other side. How are end users seeing Copilot evolve? Is it getting easier to use, more embedded?
It seems like the push is definitely towards making it um, more seamless. Like it's just there when you need it rather than a separate thing you have to go find.
Pervasive, as you said earlier.
Exactly. And a prime example started October 15th in OneDrive for the web. There's a new floating Copilot button.
Floating button, so it just hangs out on the screen.
Kind of, yeah. It gives you instant access to do things like summarize a file, compare documents, ask questions about them, without having to navigate away or break your flow.
That could be handy. Does it do anything proactive?
Yes, that's the interesting part, contextual recommendations. So depending on what file or files you have selected, the button might suggest actions.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, say someone shares a new document with you. You select it, and Copilot might pop up a suggestion like, summarize this file. Saves you that step of figuring out what it is.
Ah, I see. Little time savers based on context.
Exactly. And the integration gets even tighter when you're actually looking inside a file.
How so?
There's another separate Copilot icon specifically inside the file previewer in OneDrive. It's tucked away in the bottom right corner, not in the main command bar.
Okay, so dedicated button within the preview. Why there?
Seems designed for quick, very specific prompts about the file you're viewing right then and there. Less clicking, more immediate AI help focused on that content.
Right, makes sense. Now, the usefulness of all this contextual help really depends on how well Copilot understands the data, right?
Absolutely. Which leads nicely into another key update from October 21st. Enhanced metadata understanding for Copilot queries.
Metadata understanding. So it's looking beyond just the text in the file.
Precisely. If you attach, say, a SharePoint library or a folder to your Copilot query, it won't just read the documents. It'll actually look at the column metadata in that library.
Oh, that's clever. So if you have columns for project status or client name.
Copilot can use that. It understands the structure you've already built. This should lead to much more relevant, accurate answers because it gets the context from your metadata.
That sounds genuinely useful, taking organizational knowledge and feeding it to the AI.
It really is. And speaking of organizing information for AI, something launching in November builds on this. Agents in OneDrive.
Agents in OneDrive. We just talked about managing them in the admin center. Now users get them too.
Sort of. This is about letting users create ways to group files together for specific AI tasks. Think of it like creating a little AI assistant for a particular project.
Okay, so users can bundle files and then...
And then use AI to ask questions across that bundle, get summaries of the whole set, collaborate more effectively on that specific project or topic.
How does that work technically? Where do these bundles live?
They get saved as special.agent files right there in the user's OneDrive. These files are editable, they're shareable. The idea is to make working with AI on specific projects more efficient.
.agent files. Interesting. Could be powerful, could also get messy if not managed. We'll come back to that.
Definitely something to watch.
Sure.
And one more Copilot connection point before we move on. Good news for hybrid environments.
Connecting to on-prem.
Yes. As of October 27th, there's now the ability to connect Microsoft 365 Copilot to on-premises SharePoint server using Copilot connectors.
So you can finally use M365 Copilot to query your older on-prem SharePoint documents.
That's the idea. Extending Copilot's reach beyond just the cloud content. Big step for organizations still managing legacy data on-prem.
Okay, that covers the big AI and admin updates. What about the more foundational stuff, the core SharePoint and OneDrive tweaks that impact everyday work?
Right. Beyond the AI spotlight, there were some important changes. The most visible one is probably the updated SharePoint document library user experience. This starts rolling out in November.
Okay, updated UX, what's changing specifically?
Microsoft mentioned things like a simplified command bar, better breadcrumb navigation so you know where you are, these things called filter pills to show active filters easily, and a new options button, generally trying to clean it up.
Simplification is usually good, but I remember the Microsoft comms hinting at maybe some potential user friction.
Yeah, there was one specific change highlighted that might trip people up, at least initially. They're swapping the positions of the view selector and the new upload button.
Ugh, they're moving the upload button. That seems potentially annoying.
It could be. Uploading or creating new files is such a frequent action. People have muscle memory for where that button is. Swapping it with the view selector, it's like moving the gas pedal in your car. Might take some getting used to.
Good analogy. Expect some grumbling there for a bit, maybe. Okay, what else on the foundational side?
Something more behind the scenes, but beneficial. Version history optimization. This rolled out around October 13th
For what specifically?
for SharePoint lists and document libraries, specifically items that get edited using the grid view,
Yeah.
like editing an Excel sheet.
Okay, grid view edits. What's the optimization?
It's about improving reliability and saving storage space. Basically, if you make a bunch of rapid-fire edits in the grid view, the system might now consolidate those into a single version history entry instead of creating tons of tiny versions.
That makes sense. Fewer versions, less storage used, probably faster performance.
Exactly, and there's a key implication for automation too. If you have Power Automate flows or other rules set up to trigger whenever an item is modified, this consolidation means those flows will trigger more efficiently. They won't fire off repeatedly for every tiny little grid edit within a short span.
Okay, smarter triggering for automations. Nice efficiency gain there. Anything else, Major?
One last one. Focused on OneDrive and solving a common admin headache. Simplifying employee offboarding. This started mid-October.
Offboarding file transfers. Always tricky. What's improved?
They've streamlined the process with better notifications and filtering options for selecting files. But the really key improvement is that bulk file transfers now preserve sharing permissions.
Oh, that's huge. So when files get transferred to a manager, the links shared with others don't just break.
That's the goal. It maintains business continuity. Critical shared links should keep working even after the original owner departs and the files are transferred.
That saves so much hassle tracking down broken links.
Right.
What about the manager's side?
It's smoother for them too. Access to the transferred files is granted automatically to the manager, and they get email alerts. It makes the whole handoff quicker and more secure.
Yeah.
Less risk of losing important company info.
Right, closing that knowledge gap. Okay, so that's quite a range of updates for October. If you had to sort of summarize the overall direction for M365 based on this month, what's the takeaway?
I'd say it wasn't really a quiet month at all. It felt very focused, foundational maybe. You had admins getting really crucial granular controls, especially over Copilot agents and the associated costs.
Right, the governance piece solidified.
Definitely. Then you had Copilot itself becoming much more embedded, more context-aware, particularly noticeable in OneDrive. It's moving from a tool to an ambient assistant.
Okay, control and integration. And the third piece.
And then those necessary, if less flashy, tweaks to core productivity. Things like the version history cleanup and the smoother offboarding, necessary plumbing work.
So looking ahead, that point you made about the .agent files in OneDrive, that feels like something to watch?
It really does. It raises a fascinating question. Is this the start of AI-driven project definitions? Files that actually encapsulate the collaborative AI for a specific task?
Or could it just become another type of file we have to manage, like digital clutter, but for AI configurations?
Exactly. Will it streamline things, or will we eventually need governance policies just for .agent files, the same way we manage documents and sites today? Maybe we'll need a Copilot just to manage our Copilot agents.
Ha! A Copilot for your Copilots. There's a thought to leave people with as they explore these new features. Well, that wraps up our look at SharePoint for October 2025. Thanks for joining this Hands-on M365.
And we definitely encourage you to check out handsontech.net. Joanne posts daily updates there about Microsoft 365, loads of tips and tricks for SharePoint, Teams, and the whole suite.
Absolutely. And to catch our future discussions, make sure you follow Joan Ferreira's blog and, of course, this podcast. Thanks for listening, and goodbye for now.